Good evening, Silverton High School parents. My name is Ed John. I'm the interim principal here at Silverton High School. Welcome to our town hall meeting. During these changing times, we want to have good communication with you. So for the next several weeks, we will probably meet weekly. And I think next week starting Thursday at 6. So Thursday the 18th at 6. And then we'll try to have good communication with you and make sure you know what we know. So introductions. My name's Ed John, interim principal. With me is James Rise. He's assistant principal at Silverton High School, and he also has another hat. He's the principal at Silvercrest Elementary School, or actually Silvercrest K-8. And then also with a couple hats is Therese Gerlitz, I'm sorry. Therese has a couple hats. She's the assistant principal at Silverton Middle School. In addition, she's working part-time helping us at the high school in kind of a assistant principal role. So we're busy trying to move forward with what's next with hybrid learning coming our way. So this meeting is being recorded and it'll be posted tomorrow on YouTube, and we'll have that information posted how you can access that. I'm sure there's some folks that this is not a convenient time for 5 o'clock, people commuting home from work. Next week it'll be 6 o'clock on Thursday, but it's one of those things where not going to find a great time that's good for everyone, and that there's lots of other meetings going on around the district, especially for folks that have kids in middle school or elementary school or want to go to various district meetings. But we'll try to come up with something that works for everyone. So a couple of things before we get into kind of a presentation part is I want to tell you a little bit about our reopening team. We have a team of about 18 people that meets every Monday from 7:30 to 8:30. And we go through our blueprint, our reopening plan, and we try to address every single issue that we can think of. And we look at the guidance from Oregon Department of Education, guidance from Oregon Health Authority, guidance from our district. And we talk about, so what's it look like when kids come in the door? And we will try to have students notified if their first period class is in the A wing, they come through this door, they sanitize their hands, someone takes a quick look at them, make sure how you feeling, you're doing okay, and point them in the right direction. We're not doing a COVID test with students, but we are doing some sort of a preliminary screening. And we're going to get more details into that as we get closer to our opening. Our opening is April 26th, which is 2.5 months from now. So we have some time to fine tune that. But as we do some LIPI, limited in-person instruction, and having students come in a few at a time, we're making sure that we have all of those processes and procedures all lined out. So our reopening team goes through all that, looking at, do they walk down the hall just on the right-hand side of the hall, or is it one-way hallways? And what does that look like? And then what about when they get their kind of grab and go breakfast in the morning? At this point, we're saying they take that to their classroom, eat it at their desk, throw the trash away, teacher kind of stands at the door. And then at the end of the, they have periods 2, 4, 6, and 8, 2, 4, 6 in the building. So when they finish their 6th period, the 3rd period of the day, they grab their grab and go lunch and head out the door, and then they have their last class online at home. So we're working on lots of processes, procedures, make sure that kids are going to be safe. And we're talking about any PPE, protective equipment. We're ensuring that every student has a mask on. It's above their nose and below their chin, and that has to be on all the time. And make sure that there's hand sanitizing stations at almost every corner. And so students are going to need to make sure that they take advantage of that. So that's something that we spend a lot of time on and we're reviewing those, and the district office looks at those, and we're looking at every classroom and say, okay, if you have a cohort in this group, in this classroom, and it's say 12 students, how can you get 12 students in here and they're 6 feet apart? Do we need to move some things around or get rid of some tables or whatnot? So we're doing a lot of analyzing classrooms and what that looks like. And so that's a big process for us, and we're working on that every week. So on your computer, you should be able to see a Q&A button. Feel free to type in some questions in there. We have a few questions that we're going to try to respond to that people sent in earlier. So we'll respond to those, and then we'll try to get to as many of these questions that you have before our time is up. We've set aside about 45 minutes for this meeting. So hopefully we get through all your questions. If we don't, then in our next Parent Square, I'll make sure I address those. And some questions, there are questions that we have as well, and we're still waiting from guidance from the state or the Department of Education on how to deal with situations. But I think we can answer most of the ones at least we're sending so far. So a few slides I want to just kind of click through, kind of share some things with you before we get to the questions. First one is, make sure we're all kind of on the same page on comprehensive distance learning. That's what most everyone is in right now. So Monday is it's a day where teachers could be sending out some work, or there could be office hours, but there's no Google Meets. But then Tuesday and Thursday are periods 1 and 3, and Wednesdays and Fridays are periods 5 and 7. And so that's what we've been doing right now. And then the second part is Fox Online. So anyone who's not in comprehensive distance learning, there are some people that are in Fox Online, and it's its own separate online program. It's really more self-guided, self-paced. There's no real live Google Meets. Students are assigned work, and then teachers have office hours. They check in with the teacher, see how they're doing on their progress, that kind of thing, but that's just online. And so they're two separate ones, and they're really not interchangeable. People that signed up for Fox Online, that was a year-long commitment, so they're in that for the year. Students that are in comprehensive distance learning are in that through third quarter, but fourth quarter, we're believing that we're going to be moving to hybrid, assuming the metrics are met. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing we have going on is LIPI, limited in-person instruction. It's about 2 hours a day, and we're bringing in some students. We have some special ed students coming in, some alt ed kids coming in, some CTE, career technical education students coming in. We have some students coming in, sitting in the guidance center, not being tutored, but they're just in the building with other students, and there's an adult there where maybe the adult could help them with any maybe technology issue that they're kind of stuck on, or how do I get from Canvas to Edgenuity to the modules that my teacher sent me. Then we also have some in the afternoon that are in the cafeteria. And again, those are spread out, usually about one student per 8-foot long table. And again, there's an adult there, not tutoring as much as just kind of touching base. How are you doing? Anything you're stuck on? What can I do to help? So we're wanting to gradually increase our LIPI. We're wanting to bring more in, and a couple of reasons. One is we believe it helps students. A lot of students are just kind of crying for, I need to see another student. I'd like to see my teacher, even if it's kind of waving in the hallway. And then, so I think it's helping them academically, and I think it helps them kind of mental health wise, just to be able to, some students have said to me, I've been sitting in my bedroom on my Chromebook for 10 months. Can I get out of this? And so we're trying to increase the number of kids we offer that to. And then also, as we having students coming in for this LIPI, it gives us a better chance to kind of evaluate, are things going smoothly? Are we able to kind of take a look at them when they come in and make sure that they get their hands sanitized, make sure they know where their classroom is or where they're going to work with somebody, and they go directly there and they walk 6 feet apart down the hall. And so it gives us a chance to kind of a little trial run on what that looks like, so that when we do go to hybrid, hopefully April 26th, we've dealt with all those issues. Kind of looking ahead, as you know, this Friday is the end of second quarter, and then we jump right into third quarter on Monday. So if the county does not meet the matrix, we continue with the CDL that we're doing right now, and those students that are on Fox Online, they stay on that. We're not doing any hybrid during third quarter. Now, fourth quarter, April 26th is the date that things change for us. And if at that point, if the county does not meet the matrix, we'll continue to stay in what we're doing. We're doing the CDL for the remainder of the year, and the students that are in Fox Online, they stay in that for the remainder of the year. However, we're optimistic that the county does meet the metrics, and then we move ahead with offering hybrid. So all the students that are currently in comprehensive distance learning will go to hybrid. Ones in Fox Online stay there because that's a year-long commitment. So the hybrid, that's where they come in, I think, starting at about 7:55 in the morning, like 8 o'clock until about 12:30. So they go to 3 classes, and then they do their 4th class at home. So 2 cohorts. Cohort A is students alphabet A to K. Cohort B is students alphabet L to Z. Cohort A attends on-site in the building Tuesday and Thursday in the morning, and they it's actually, I'm sorry, yeah, Tuesday and Thursday, and then they'll do some things online the other 3 days. And then cohort B, they're actually on site Wednesday and Friday, and then the other days they do some things online. So as I said, there's students have 4 classes. You know, the last 2 quarters they've had periods 1, 3, 5, and 7. Now starting third quarter and fourth quarter, they have periods 2, 4, 6, and 8. So they'll have periods 2, 4, 6 in the morning, and then period 8 is at home online. So start about 7:55 and they get through at about 12:30. So there's 3 85-minute periods with about a 5-minute passing time. And then at the end of the 12:30, they get their grab and go lunch and they head out the door. Again, we will do everything we can to make sure all that entrance and exit is streamlined and there's no congregating, let's hang out in the commons and chit chat. And so that'll all be streamlined, kind of an orderly manner, single file, 6 feet apart, and exit the building. We're going to do everything we can to make sure everyone is safe and they're wearing their mask and they stay 6 feet apart. The last thing we want to do is put kids in a at-risk situation where it ends up some sort of an outbreak and we're closing down this great opportunity we have to get started. So we're looking forward to it, and we're putting all kinds of procedures into place to make sure it's safe for our students. So as I go through these, if James and Therese have some things to add, feel free. But some dates coming up, you know, as I mentioned, this Friday is in the second quarter. Monday is beginning the third quarter. Yes, and then February 18th, next Thursday, week from tomorrow at 6 o'clock is our next town hall meeting. And we'll try to have those on a regular basis, same time, same date, so we're not adding confusion. So that's kind of the information we want to share. The last page is some resources. Want to make sure you had our email address, you know, me and James and Jody Dresser, our assistant principal, and Heather Basher, our activities director, are kind of in charge of Lippy. So if you have specific questions about Lippy, please connect with them. And then the counselors, that's obviously you know them already, but if you have questions about what about fourth quarter, do we have any other options? And that's a case-by-case, individual basis decision with the counselor. And we may not have a lot, once we go to hybrid, kind of the expectation is the teachers are back and students are back, and we're in cohort A and cohort B, and we're back in the building. And then that gets us ready for next September. Everybody's back all day long, and we're hoping this goes smoothly so that that is all in place for next fall. Some of the questions that I've heard, what about masks? And I think I mentioned earlier, our expectation is students wear a mask every day. It's above their nose and below their chin, and it stays on the entire time. And the teachers won't have a lot of patience with somebody who lets that droop down. They'll probably one morning, one little pep talk, and then they send them down to the office where they meet with me or Mrs. Drescher about, hey, we're doing this for everyone's safety. And it's not only our rule at a certain high school, but it's the guidance from the state of Oregon. I mentioned screening briefly. Again, we're going to have students identify what door they come in, have someone at the door, kind of check, see how they're doing, and make sure they sanitize their hands and get moving in the right direction to their classroom, and that there's no hanging out in the commons or the cafeteria or the library. We're pretty much all business during this last quarter, which is only about 8 weeks long. And someone asked about how is Lippy going? We believe it's going well, but we're really pretty strict about how that works. In fact, one of the secretaries that runs the kiosk at the front desk at the front of the building had to be gone to a meeting today, so I was in charge out there for a half hour, and greet students at the door, welcome them, do a little eyeball check, and then make sure they sanitize their hands and say, do you know where your classroom is? And if not, point them in the right direction. And if there's anyone else coming at the same time, make sure they walk 6 feet apart. So I think it's going well. We're really stressing safety, and the students are being very cooperative, and we're wanting to increase that a little bit so that we can get more exposure for the students. One of the questions I saw was forecasting for next fall. I'm going to let Therese handle that one. See if, I think a question I had was, understand that from the beginning of the year, most teachers have been allowed students to turn in work late without penalty or retake assignments. What else does the district or school plan to do to improve the situation for upcoming quarter? Well, that's a tough one. We're wanting to have a little bit of a balance between here's work. If you do it, great. If you don't, you get the low grade. On the other hand, we say, man, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We have to have a little flexibility and grace. And this is depressing for kids, and it's not easy. Kids don't like to be online. They don't like to be in the classroom. I was at a principal's meeting the other day with all the schools in our league, and they were all saying the same thing, that attendance isn't very good. Students aren't doing very good grade-wise, and it's just something that they're having a hard time dealing with. And so we're wanting to have a little flexibility and grace and patience and do everything we can to encourage and support them. And if there's some sort of effort where, okay, I got that paper in late, but it's coming, or I really messed up on that assignment, can I retake that assignment? That we want to give some flexibility and grace with students to give them every opportunity. We know this is a tough time, and last thing we want to do is have kids dig themselves a hole where it puts them in jeopardy of not graduating. And so that's why we have a little flexibility with the pass, no pass for those students that want to take advantage of that opportunity. It's not for everyone, and it's not an automatic that goes to everyone, but we want to give as much flexibility as we can for kids that are struggling in that area. So we're hoping this third and fourth quarter is better. In fact, when I was talking to some of the counselors the other day, they said, it appears that we're not as much kind of crisis mode as we were the first quarter, where it's doing better. But it's not easy. Distance learning is not easy for kids and not easy for teachers. And my hunch is it's not easy for parents. But we're going to get through it. There was a question about why not have the day that students don't come in the middle, so there's more opportunity for cleaning. Well, we've already committed to the Mondays because we've been doing that for 2 quarters, and then it'll be 3 quarters. But the students are done by about 12:30, so it gives plenty of time in the afternoon for more of a deep cleaning. And actually, between each class, as even though there's only a 5-minute passing time, as students come in, when they leave, before they come in the next period, teachers are wiping down desks and doing some as much cleaning as they possibly can. And we're going to have those sanitary wipes, those I don't know if Clorox wipes, but ones that we're going to wipe down tables and desks and chairs between classes as well. So, James, I know there's a lot of questions about athletics. So what's the latest on athletics?
Thanks, Ed. So today we were given some guidance that was updated from the governor's office that changed some of the prohibitions of contact sports. And so at this point, under the new guidance, we will be able to allow our football program to move ahead with the season. It is a condensed 6-game season. Practices will begin next week with a gradual buildup of equipment, but that has been given the go-ahead. There are some specifics that need to be addressed as far as extra, guidelines in terms of offering the opportunity for students to have an on-site test, which is similar to that of what we need to do in a hybrid plan for the schools. There are some other waivers and whatnot that we will have to apply for, but at this point, we have given our football program kind of the green light at this point. So they will go that as far as our outside contact sports. For our inside sports, we are still under some guidelines that prohibit us from pretty much going full go with our volleyball team at this point. So over the course of the next couple weeks, we will be looking into what options we have to offer that. So at this point, for our fall sports that are cleared to participate for this year, we have our football program that will start next week. We have boys and girls soccer and cross country that will begin on February 22nd. I actually just saw a question pop up here as I was going through this. As far as pay to play fees, our fees are going to be reduced down to 60% of what we've paid or asked folks to pay in the past. And the 60% is based on the idea that all of the competitions for the seasons are down about 40%. So we felt like that was a fair give there. So as far as what the other activities are, I would be happy to follow that up with whether an email. There's some information we plan to share out on our website tomorrow on the athletics page, and then also we will be planning to hold another athletics Q&A potentially next week, if not the following week. So we will be able to offer most of our activities, those that are non-contact. So if that's choir, if that's band, those things will be given the go ahead as well, as far as I can see. But at this point, it's that indoor piece that is still the hang up. So more info to come on the athletics and activity side. Again, we will post some information tomorrow on the website, and then also be looking for an athletics and activity specific town hall here in the next week or so.
There was a question about if the metrics are improving so much, and it was like 400 cases per 100,000, then 300, and if it gets down to 200, we've met it. If it happens to get down before April 26th, would we start earlier? And I believe the answer to that is no, that they have a start date for the K5, and then they give a couple weeks or so before they move the 6-8 in. And so my belief is that the answer to that would be no, that April 26th would be our target date. And we're assuming that we're going to meet that because it seems to be getting better all the time. And more and more Oregonians are getting vaccinated, and people are just feeling more safer about the whole situation. So, but no, we wouldn't be able to start before April 26th. Therese, were there some questions that you saw that you want to take a stab at?
Yep, I can handle a little bit about the forecasting. My name is Therese Gerlitz, and I stepped in a few weeks ago in January to fill a vacancy and help us get to June until that position can be rehired. And so I am looking with the counseling team and the other staff about how did forecasting look last year? How is our situation similar or different this year? And what's the best way for us to get that information so that we can build a good schedule for that following year, and to get the right information from students so that a good schedule can be built. The best practice at this point for that we're hearing is kind of waiting and doing forecasting a little bit later than we typically would, in that the way that we are running our schedules, we have some better data coming here a little bit later in the spring than we typically would about the number of classes that students have passed or failed, or what their interests are. And so it makes sense for students to be able to make those best decisions, for us to push that back a little bit later. But we will be doing that forecasting for sure. And we will be relying heavily on some of those virtual options to make sure that we get access to all of our students. So that's my forecasting one. Was there another one, Ed?
I'll take a look. Hey,
I think that was it. Yeah.
One of the things I want to mention is that, as you know, I'm the interim principal, and it's been my honor and privilege to be here. And if I was 40 years younger, I would love to be the principal here, but retired a couple of times and just been helping out. But what a great high school, an amazing community, and the kids are just wonderful. And I'm sure there's going to be a number of really qualified applicants that would love to be at Silverton High School. The superintendent has started a pretty comprehensive, extensive process, and has, I think, screened the applicants down to 3 that are going to go through a process next week at the high school. And then at some point, I don't know the exact date, but the superintendent will make available for the community a town hall meeting where either the top 3 candidates or the 2 finalists, or maybe the finalists, get to the town hall. The parents get to meet these individuals. So I appreciate the superintendents having that, very open, transparent process where people can be involved from the beginning. So it's really pretty early, but the superintendent's commitment is, if the right person isn't here, we're still early. We could re-advertise and get more applicants and do it again. So that's the advantage of starting early, so that his commitment is going to get the right person, even if it means re-advertising. So you'll be having an opportunity to be involved in that. And I think we mentioned in a parent square that was sent out earlier today, the Youth Truth Survey. I think I sent that link out on Monday, and it's a survey that we do each year, and we ask students a set of questions, the staff a set of questions, and the parents a set of questions. And then this company kind of analyzes all that for us and gives us kind of a feel for regarding this question. Here's the staff's perception on how you did with that. And it gives a chance to kind of look at what is that percentage, how's that compared to other district schools, and how's that compared to the state of Oregon. And then it gives us an understanding of what are some things that are really going well, and what are some things that we didn't score very well on. And so what are we going to do to address that? Because we always want to be learning and improving. So if you haven't had a chance to take that survey yet, please do that. It only takes about 10 or 15 minutes. James, have you seen any other questions that we ought to take a stab at?
Yes, one that kind of popped up in the Q&A here was, how will CTE and or shop classes be work in both the online and the hybrid format? So that's
well, the online is what we've been doing for the last 5 months. It's not a lot of hands-on, although we've had some students in Libby come out and do some welding, and I've seen some kids picking up projects that they're working on. But when we get to hybrid, then they're actually coming in the building and they're going to have hands-on and working on those. But that's another program that just really needs to have kids in the building. There's just some things it's kind of hard to do online, and CTE class is one, and culinary class is another one, although I've seen them making cookies. So yeah, we're anxious to get to hybrid where we can actually be in the building and do some of those things hands-on. Kimberly asked about where can I find the guidelines. I can put that in our next parent square, but there is a matrix that shows here's where Marion County is right now. Here's where Clackamas County is, because we have schools that are in both counties. And here's what they have to get to be able to have students come on campus, half of them at a time in kind of a hybrid model. So we're not there yet, but we're certainly getting closer. But I can put that in the next parent square. I don't have it in front of me. So we probably have some questions that we really didn't get to, but my commitment is to send a parent square once a week, maybe Tuesdays, with any updates, like the latest on the metrics, and then have these town hall meetings once a week on Thursdays. And so between the two, hopefully we'll be able to have good, clear, concise information for you. Someone asked about if we hit the metrics, are masks still required? Yes, at this point, we're thinking we're going to be in masks for the remainder of the year. And it's just kind of an extra precaution that even though we're at this percentage and safe to come back, don't want to put anyone at any risk. And so my belief is that we're going to be wearing masks for the remainder of the year. Trees, James, anything else? Or?
Yeah, Ed, we had another one here. With cohorts by last name, how will classes that are only offered once per semester or quarter be handled?
Trace, is there a good answer to that?
Yeah, Kim, I'll give you a call tomorrow. I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what you're asking. And so I can reach out to you tomorrow and find out more what you're meaning by that. We still had courses that were only offered once a quarter or once a semester in that quarter one and quarter two. So we would follow those same for quarter three or quarter four. But I feel like I'm missing kind of what you're really asking. So I can follow up with you tomorrow about that.
All right, so we'll gather any questions that we missed, and we'll try to respond to those. And on my Tuesday Parent Square, I'll try to address all that we can. Hey, thanks for being here, and hopefully you found that this was helpful. And you know, what a crazy year! But everyone is working hard to make the best of it and provide the best we can for our kids. They deserve the best, and we're trying our best to help them be successful and get through this year. And I guess there's a guarantee that we'll only do this once every 100 years. So we'll get through this one. Hey, thank you very much. Take care. All right.